I am super excited to be here today. It's rare that I have a guest, and I have a special guest here today. She is the creator of my fanny cream. Yes, the cream that I have used as a postmenopausal woman that has helped me so much with the pelvic floor prolapse. She is a fanny physio from South Australia. Miss Claire, I love what you have created, and I love that we're going to talk all things fanny creams today, so to speak. Well, yeah, we're going to talk fanny creams. So let's dive straight into this episode. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so exciting to have this conversation.
So let's talk fanny creams. Why, you're a fanny physio. How long have you been a fanny physio? What made you transition? And you're a women's health pelvic floor specialist physiotherapist. And,
Yeah, and you've just boganed it down, and that's
yeah,
fine. I love it. Yeah,
full
look,
of bogan. Why did
uh,
you go from being fanny, or how did you become a fanny physio first? Because that's always an interesting question I ask my fanny physios.
yeah, because it
And
seems
then
like
to
a really strange
transition
thing
to
to
the
do.
cream. Sorry?
Yeah, no, totally. So I started physio probably 25 years ago, and I transitioned through lots of types of physio, but I worked a lot, just found my place working a lot with women, and I thought it was really important to learn more and more about this. And when I became interested in women's health physio, which is probably about 15 years ago, there would
Yep.
have been maybe half a dozen physios in the room with a similar interest if I was lucky, and they were probably all about 30 years older than me. And
Mm.
now there's just an enormous amount of women working in this space. And it's great because it's so interesting and you build such great relationships with people, but you get really good results too. It's
You get
really quite
really bloody
elegant.
intimate with us. You have to be like, seriously. I have one of my other fanny physios, Georgia. We discussed everything that you do in the examination,
Yeah,
for pelvic
yeah.
floor. And it is, I can't believe how safe you help women feel
Yeah,
through
it's
that
not something you really
examination.
expect a physio to do. So you really have to explain to
No.
people what we're going to do in that moment.
Yeah.
And I think physios are in a great position because we do have the time with people. So
Mm.
it's not like you rushed in, it's a quick exam, it's embarrassing and you're out. You
Yeah.
can talk them through it, you can take your time, you can make them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And like I said, the results are excellent. So it's a really rewarding field to be involved in. Yeah.
Okay. So physio to fanny physio.
Yes, yes.
Olive and Bee intimate cream, or
Yeah,
my
yeah.
fanny cream as I call it. Tell us
Yeah,
the
totally,
transition to that.
totally. So when I working a lot with women in this area, I'd often get the question, what can I use as a moisturizer down there? What can I use as a personal lubricant? I don't like what's on the market. So I'll
Mm.
find this too. Most things are kind of cold and sticky, kind of marketed to men, not really appealing to buy. And they're okay for an exam, but I would have even gynecologists say I wouldn't tell a woman to use this at home. This is okay as a one-off, but it's actually not very good for them. So what if they just used olive oil? So I used to say to people, just use olive oil. And they'd come back and say, "You look, it works, but it's messy and it's from the kitchen and it's not great." So
Yep.
I thought, well, what if we could thicken olive oil to make it into a better product?
Mm.
So hence came the revolution around what could we do to thicken it and make an oil-based lubricant. So the categories of lubricants on the market were water-based and silicon-based, both of which I didn't really like because they weren't natural. The water-based ones need a lot of preservatives to be able to contain water in that environment. And then they often muck up with things like osmolarity and pH and need
Before you go with your big words, explain to everyone what, as a
yeah,
naturopath
cool.
and an
Yeah,
aromatherapist.
no, that's
Yeah.
a good. I get this question a lot.
Yeah.
So there should be a certain acid-base balance in the vagina, and you don't want to muck that up too much because then you might end up with things like thrush and bacterial infections. Osmolarity talks more to the fact that you don't want to draw water out of a space. You don't want to, say, put something on your lips that makes them drier.
Yep.
So those things had to be worked out. So
And
we
that's
needed
what I
something.
found with the water-based ones when I
Yeah.
first got my prolapse, because I'd never had any problem with lubrication or lack of
Yes.
lubrication, even being postmenopausal. But when I got the prolapse, I did, because
Yes.
my uterus was kind of
Yes.
hanging outside. And the water-based ones I found really dried me out. They were
Yeah,
I
because
was
you've got a
like
mucosal tissue that should be
oh,
on the inside, not on the outside,
hanging
and
outside.
you
Yeah.
don't wanna make it worse, right?
Yeah.
So we needed to consider those things. We needed to consider, something that's natural, like actually natural, not just kind of pretend 5% of this is natural.
Yep.
We didn't wanna muck up too much with that environment. We didn't want something that, even added a fragrance or anything that could be an irritant or an allergen. or anything that didn't dissolve easily, because you also don't want things to kind of work their way up into the system.
No.
And there are important parts to that area that you don't want to sort of clog up with oils that are too thick and could catch bacteria behind them. So there was quite a few things we needed to tick off. So I wanted to create an oil-based lubricant. We worked through quite a lot of recipes to come up with one that people liked, that had the right sort of thickness and didn't smell too bad and didn't look too bad and all that sort of thing. And kind of created this category that I called intimate cream, because I didn't really like the term
Rebrand
personal
it fanny
lubricant.
cream.
Yeah,
It's much
yeah.
better,
Look,
I
yeah.
think.
I think we might need a second one now.
Yeah,
So yeah, so
it's
going
fanny
to
cream.
think that it is appealing for women to buy as well. So and you've seen the product; it's more like a hand cream look.
I've been using it.
Yeah.
I haven't prepared. I'd have to run to the bathroom. You got one there? There you
There we
go.
go. One
And
I
look,
prepared earlier.
and I've
Yeah,
just been traveling
yeah,
as a speaker. I've just been in China and Mongolia and Korea and Taiwan, all around the world, and it just looks like a hand cream in my bag. And even
exactly.
if I go with without my bag
Yes,
to the bathroom, it's just like I've got a hand cream in my pocket.
totally, totally. So you can travel with
Brilliant.
it. It can be on your bathroom shelf, not hidden in the cabinet,
Yeah,
and it's something you could buy for your mum,
yeah,
and it wouldn't be embarrassing.
yeah,
So that was the brief. It was supposed to look a bit more like a hand cream, a bit more discreet, and a bit more appealing.
yeah.
So in doing all that, we've created olive and bee intimate cream, which is as simple as it sounds. It's literally just olive oil and beeswax. It's a 2 ingredient product.
Yep. But there's okay, so I'm an aromatherapist and I've taught DIY courses and I've taught
Mm,
people how to make creams and lotions and
mm,
all. I've done
mm,
podcasts about how, lotions and creams, how they're made and having water and
mm.
all that kind of stuff. But you've done such a brilliant job at getting a consistency that works.
Yeah, look,
And
it took us
it's a lot
about
to
26
impress me.
times.
Well, 26 times you bloody nailed it.
Yeah, and look, as you know, mostly the word cream is used for a water-based product, and so then you have to get things, the chemical balance right. But because we were just really thickening an oil, it's quite a different process.
Mm.
And olive oil and beeswax both have good shelf life, but they also have good properties. So we're not just creating a product that doesn't stuff things up. We're creating a product that's actually antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, and potentially actually of good, so that it actually creates a bit of a healing cream at the same time.
Yeah, it's easy to apply. A tiny bit goes a long way,
Mm,
which I've been really impressed with. Which
mm,
all oil products are great because oil creeps
mm.
anyway. So you
Yeah.
don't kind of use a heap like the other kind of things. And
Mm,
it's a comfort for me. It was a comfort factor straight away. And it was one of my fanny physios, Georgia, who recommended me
mm.
to buy your product. And I was stoked because I was really frustrated. There was some days I felt like I was literally crab walking because everything was getting pinched. I couldn't get a lubricant that worked.
Yeah, and people don't realize. They think it's just
Ah,
dryness with intercourse as you get older. They don't real People don't realize, for a lot of women it's just dryness. It might just be sitting still and doing nothing. It might be wearing tight pants. There's activities that you can't necessarily do anymore. And it is a quality of life issue. So
hmm.
we wanted to create something that would just make things a little bit better.
Yeah. So whether you don't have to have a prolapse like I had with my uterus trying to hang out. Even like I work with so many postmenopausal women and menopause, perimenopausal, all that, where they're starting to get some dryness and they need,
Mm,
whether it's for sex or not for sex,
mm, mm.
they need that extra lubrication. And this product nails it. And it's something as an intimate cream you can take anywhere because it just looks like a hand cream in your bag. Side note,
Mm.
I'll give you a testimonial. When I was in Mongolia 2 weeks ago, it was like 20% humidity. It was so dry. The air was so dry. I used it as a hand moisturizer.
Yeah, people do. People use it for other things as
Good.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And because it's safe to use vaginally, it's probably going to be okay on other parts of your body as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you pointed out that it's not just for prolapse. A lot of people postmenopausal or even premenopause do experience dryness, and it may be childbirth, it might be around breastfeeding, and a lot of the clients that have found us are through breast care nurses, because breast cancer can throw them straight into menopause in a pretty
Mm.
nasty way. And one of the worst symptoms they'll get is often vaginal dryness, and not really want to complain about that, but it can be really symptomatic and really awful. So
Yeah.
they can use the olive and bee daily to just help with those symptoms.
Yeah, so many women, and they won't talk about this, which is why I'm
Mm,
being so
mm,
vocal about all this since I
mm,
had had a prolapse, it was like I was the most non-likely person to have one and
Mm,
had one. And
mm,
so I really want to raise it because I've met so many women who has reached out since I did it and went,
mm,
I've been experiencing, all the pee things and all those kind of
mm,
things, peeing when their sneeze or they can't hold a pee, all that,
mm,
own
mm,
a full prolapse. Uh,
mm,
the part they still don't talk about is the discomfort, even if they don't have a prolapse,
yeah,
of vaginal dryness. And
yeah.
the natural thing that can come from as our estrogen drops, which is meant to happen, ladies.
Mm, mm.
That natural dip in estrogen is normal. It's a normal process of life, a normal cycle of life. And so if you experience that and you're getting that vaginal dryness, this is a seriously easy solution.
It's easy, it does no harm, and if it can just help with those symptoms to get through that time, then it becomes a really nice solution for women. And I spoke to a women's health physician quite recently about this, saying, "How many women do you think would have this symptom of dryness? You know, it must be around 50%." And she said, "Claire, I think it's about 95."
Yeah, I think majority.
It's pretty much everyone.
Yeah, because estrogen is part of what gives us our lubrication.
Mm,
Estrogen naturally drops, which it's meant to do
mm,
on things like HRT, which is another topic we won't talk about here.
mm,
Um, so women postmenopausal, definitely most are going to experience dryness of some description.
yeah.
It's huge.
So
So
if we can treat that one symptom that can be quite troublesome, then it might just make their day a bit better. Mm,
absolutely.
mm,
Okay, so being practical. So what I've noticed, it is an oily-ish kind of product. A little bit of oil goes a long way.
mm,
So some women do use, it's on your FAQ on your website.
mm.
Some women will use maybe a panty liner sometimes if they want.
Yeah.
Um, with it was my prolapse was the most confidence destroying thing I've ever experienced, which just sounds strange, but it really was. And part of it was I'd worn G-strings all my life. I couldn't wear a G-string. I had to go to wearing briefs. And so even yeah, bamboo, nice soft ones, because bits were hanging out.
Yeah.
You really get a prolapse.
Yeah, old people's underwear. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I know. Well, it did. It rattled
But
part
you
of
do, you need that breathability as well, so you don't end up with, yeah, other infections and other irritations. So these things do change. Yeah.
they do.
So, no, obviously we've gone for something totally natural.
Yeah.
And being Australian and wanting to manufacture in Australia, that was another issue that we had to overcome. So I thought, oh, great, I've made this product. Initially, we went with a compounding chemist and just got small amounts made, and then realized that actually, I think there's more women out there that need this. You
Yeah.
know, I had this great experience where I was in my physio clinic, and this lady walks in. She would have been in at about 70, and she just puts $50 down on the desk, and she
Yeah.
goes, "I need $50 worth." She said, "It's so good," and I was like, "Gee, I think there might be a business in this. Maybe I should start making this myself." So hence, I started to look for contract manufacturers, found it really hard to get someone to do what I wanted them to do with small quantities when you're a new business. Yeah. So just went, right, we're going to make this ourselves. So set up the factory. So we now have a manufacturing facility in Mount Barker in South Australia. So people can know that we make the product, nothing else enters the factory. So there's no other allergens people have to worry about, nothing else goes through the machines, but olive oil and beeswax. And we can monitor every stage of the production, make sure the quality is really good. We've got 4 staff there now, which is so exciting, all women that run a factory that have never done manufacturing before. So we're so funny when things go wrong. Like we've had to work out how to, drive forklifts around and stuff. It's brilliant. But we're learning, and it's working really well. And people that come to our factory just go, "Wow, this is the most organized, nicest factory I've ever seen." It's clean. It's got a couch. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So we've transitioned to that manufacturing, and we're at a point now, and it makes me laugh how we have to get olive oil in big 1,000-litre vats and, you
Yeah.
know, move things around on pallets. And it's getting so exciting. We've got over 500 stores around Australia now that sell olive and bee, plus
Yeah.
the online sales. And we're into about a dozen other countries now. So this
Yeah.
little business, a little idea that was my side hustle when I was a physio, has now become this quite big manufacturing business, which is pretty cool.
I love it. I love it. I love any business being successful because I know how hard it is to build a business. And
Mm,
I love what you're creating. So, yeah, look, if you're listening to this, and this is something you've not talked about with your girlfriends, that you do experience this kind of thing, track down the product, Olive and Bee. There are stockists around the place. You can buy it through my website. There's on my, I'll put the link below, but if you go to jenniferjefferies.com, you'll be able to find it. It's actually on our whole, we've got a pelvic floor prolapse resource page. So I'll put that link below here too. Track us down, or otherwise just go to Olive and Bee and say Jen sent you, and Claire and her team will look after you. But it's a serious, for me, it's saved me great discomfort and helped me get some confidence back. And so thank you for that.
That's great. Great story.
I love that a company full of women are going to take over the world.
Totally.
What's nicer than something like J&J copying, which I'll probably copy you one day, but you've got it's you.
Hopefully the brand will be out there and people will want to buy the original.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. It's such a wonderful service that you do. And yeah, we need to spread the word. We need to spread the word. So if you're listening to this, talk to your girlfriends. It's something that's not talked about enough, and we need to normalize it. There's so many, with the postmenopausal women, and whether prolapse or no prolapse doesn't matter. This is something that we need to talk about, and this is a great product that's definitely helped me. So thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Claire.